In this program, from the suburbs to tribal Africa, we meet Alice Miranda and her author, and a challenge to go drug and alcohol-free for life.
This is InFocus Christian News and Current Affairs.
Hello, welcome to this special holiday edition of Record in Focus. It's a review of some of the highlights of the program over the past 6 months. I'm Kent Kingston and your co-host is Danielle Sinnott.
Hello, halfway through the year. How do we get here already, Kent?
Already, it's incredible, isn't it? Now, this first interview that we're going to show, Danielle, is one with an Australian woman who moved to Kenya to work and live with the iconic Maasai people. Her name is Barbara Parkins, and this is her story.
Barbara, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, maybe I should start off with saying you're actually not from Kenya.
No, I'm not from Kenya.
You're from Maxville.
Yes.
Up on the North New South Wales coast.
Yes.
So how on earth does a Aussie woman from Maxville end up over in Kenya working with the Maasai?
Well, I went there in 2011 and I met a Maasai warrior who was a guard at a place I was staying, and I saw the work he was trying to do with the poor in his community and trying to educate these children who couldn't get an education. And it was something I was looking at doing. I really wanted to help somewhere, and I was looking for some project. And we became very good friends, and so we've joined together and we're working on this project.
So you and a Maasai guy, warrior, okay.
Yes, he's a warrior.
I like the imagery. I'm thinking about it. But I'm trying to figure out, now Kenya's a country that's been independent for maybe like 5 decades.
Yes. Surely
they have universal free education like most countries do around the world.
No, they don't. Your children don't have to go to school, and the education is not free. So they have to pay, and if the school fees aren't paid, they're sent home. And because they don't have to go, many of these Maasai children and other children just are not sent, especially girls.
Wow. And now, when I think about the Maasai, I think about the sort of herding cows, drinking cows' blood. I think of it, and the sort of jumping. But that I don't know if that's a modern picture of the Maasai, or is that just something that I remember from National Geographic?
Oh, no, very much still their lifestyle.
Really?
Yes, the Maasai culture is very much intact. Okay. Yes, I actually went to where the warriors were, and they danced and sang for me, and I got many photos. Yeah, they still very much keep their culture.
Well, let me ask you this, because one of the things that we try to, that we've really become aware of, I suppose, as a global community, is when you go into a traditional society and you mess with some of the building blocks, you can sometimes get really unexpected and very negative outcomes. Yeah. Do you think that education might actually result in, some problems?
No, I don't, because they are wanting education. They realise they are part of a modern society, they are wanting modern things, and they are wanting education for their children. They desire it, and even though they still stay with their culture, they are living in a modern world, and they are wanting to integrate, and they want better things for their children.
Yeah, no, interesting. Now, I guess one of the things about traditional society, every society has its ups and its downs, right? And there's some wonderful things about the Maasai societies we're talking right before we got on air, but I guess there's also some problems there, particularly for girls.
A lot of problems for girls. They are still undergo FGM, which is female circumcision, and they're married. Right,
which for our viewers, just in case you're unaware of that, that's where the female clitoris is actually cut out.
Well, actually, it's more than that with the Maasai. They take everything, so it's actually quite, terrible what they actually do.
No anesthetic?
No.
And what about cleanliness?
Well, no, sometimes now they are getting, if they can find, because it actually is illegal in Kenya. Right, okay. But they actually do, there is a nurse I've heard that still does it.
Oh, for goodness sake.
So they're actually, getting sometimes that, but they still bleed to death.
Of course.
Infections, it's just...
So this is really a really horrendous thing, and it's still going on even today.
Yes, and it's not just the Maasai, it's right through many tribes, but especially with the Maasai. Okay. And that's something that the pastors have asked me to work with, and the women have asked me to teach them about.
Because I guess if most of the young women aren't going to school,
That's right.
You get maybe a cycle.
You do, and then they're married at 13, they're having children by 14, they know nothing else, then they can have 6, 8, 10 children, and the cycle is repeated because they know nothing else. They stay very much in their culture and don't realise that, you know, that doesn't have to be the way life is lived.
Right.
Yeah, I've talked with them about it. I live in their culture. I live with them.
Right.
So, you know, I've had a lot of insight into actually how they live and their lifestyle.
That's amazing. I guess the Messiah are kind of known for not embracing strangers readily. How have you become trusted in the community?
I think because I actually live with them. I live as they live. And I have been accepted as part of their community. I've been given a Maasai name, and they basically see me there as Maasai.
So what's your Maasai name?
Namanyak. It means lucky one.
Namanyak.
Namanyak.
That's why I should have introduced you. We have Namanyak on the show. There you go. That will play well over there.
Yeah.
So with your education program, what are you hoping to, what's your tangible plans?
Is to have the children who normally would not be educated because of the poverty, to educate them, and you know, those who are able to go to university, but just to give them so they know they have choices as well, especially the girls, but also too in health. Health is a very big issue. HIV is a huge issue.
Sure.
The typhoid, malaria, that's all was around me while I was there in the community I'm living with. They had typhoid, malaria. Because of their, you know, traditional ways, health and the way they eat and that hasn't always been the best.
Sure.
So I'm trying to show them a better way.
So do you have a school or a clinic or
Yes.
what exactly are we
At
talking?
the moment I have a school of the children, but there are actually, I've got 60 children this year I will have in it. And they are meeting though in a very run-down, falling down building on a dirt floor. So that's what I need is funds to actually build my school. I have all the plans ready. I've been given land on the escarpment overlooking the Masai Mara, and I will build a 4-classroom school, and the children then will also be educated in how to grow food because Masai traditionally don't grow food.
Right.
So I'm helping them learn how to grow food. And also I'll be educating the women in business so they can learn how to look after money because they get money and it's all gone.
Right.
So they ask me, please would I show them, you know, and
Can
teach
you show
them.
me that too?
Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm going to be that good, but it'll be basic.
That's really great. And I guess you feel part of the culture. You're actually going to go live there for quite extended periods of time.
Yes, I am.
Well, that's wonderful, Barbara.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of people watching this who are thinking, amazing opportunity to make a big difference in people's lives. Is there a way people can get in contact with you?
Yes, I have an email address and my phone number will be on the screen.
Okay,
I am
perfect.
setting up a website. That just isn't, it's a big process to set it up.
Sure.
So I'm just actually getting all that set up at the
Well,
moment.
you're not blowing it all on overheads, are you?
Oh, no. Everything that's given goes straight to the school.
Well, thank you so much, Barbara, and we're really inspired by your ministry to go out there and change the world.
Thank you.
God bless
Thank you very much.
Stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break.
So you think you've got your future all planned out, right? Or maybe you're not sure yet. What you want to do, who you want to be. A great education matters. Avondale. It's education designed for life.
Welcome back. Now, Danielle, you have a daughter who's a bit of a bookworm, don't you?
I do, Kent, very much so. Hi, Hannah. But I tell you what, Kent, she's not the only one. James Standish has 2 girls who love to read. So they were very excited when their dad managed to snag an interview with Jacqueline Harvey.
Yes.
And of course, she's the creator of a number of popular books for kids, including the Alice Miranda series.
All right, well, let's check it out then.
Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks very much,
Now,
Dan.
I see that you brought a friend with you, Jacqueline.
I did. This is Alice Miranda, and she's, I guess, the main character in a series that I've been writing for the last few years. And she's actually been on a lot of travels with me recently around the world too.
You're doing an amazing job with this book. I just want you to know, my kids have read every one of your books. The Clementine Rose, also another character that you've read. And you've just come out with a new book, which is Alice Miranda in Paris.
Yes.
What inspired you to start writing like this?
I think I always wanted to be a writer ever since I was a child, but I didn't really know how writers, how did they do that? They were always quite mysterious. My favourite authors growing up were people like Enid Blyton, Anna Sewell, Joanna Spyri. Sadly, when I was reading their stories, they'd all passed on.
Right.
And so, the idea of how you would do it, it was a mystery. So in the beginning, I started writing plays and poems and stories for the children in my classes.
Right, and you were teaching at Abbottsley, which is a Anglican school, girls' school, just right near our studio.
Quite nearby here, yeah.
Right.
I worked in another school before that, down in the Southern Highlands, called Gibgate. And really I started writing when I was teaching, and I guess it took a long time to get up the confidence to write something that I would send to a publisher. Right. And it was really my husband he said to me about probably 12 years ago, he said, you talk about this writing all the time. Are you ever going to do anything about it, or are you going to talk about it for the rest of your life? And I thought, you know what, I really don't want to die wondering. I want to give it a good go and see whether I could. And so that's how I did it.
Well, apparently your husband was onto something. I want to tell you what we as a family love about your books, and that is Alice Miranda she's kind of the kind of person that you wish you were and that you hope your kids will be. Do you write that intentionally in that way? It's sort of a problem solver, positive, lots of challenges, but able to engage with those challenges in a very constructive, positive way.
Yeah, I think that's definitely her. She's been described to me by a man in the US, actually an agent in the US, who said, she's the best version of who you'd want to be. And I thought that was such a lovely compliment. I see her as a character that lots of children would either want to be or certainly want to be friends with. And in the beginning, I don't think that it was completely intentional that she would be so good, but she kind of grew like that. And I wanted her to be good, but in a way that people didn't get sort of sick of and think was saccharine and sweet, Right. So yeah, I love that she has loads of adventures and that she really is a good friend to everyone.
Now, one of the things that you said is that there's an element of Christian values or really positive values in these books. What kind of values do you think come out?
I think certainly being a good friend, family is really important to Alice Miranda. Although she goes to boarding school, her family adore her and she adores them. And, it's her...
How refreshing it can happen.
Exactly, it can happen. You don't have to be sent to boarding school because, there's this perception that you're a naughty or something.
Right.
I think that the other values that come across, she's very courageous. She's very good at seeing the person behind the behaviour. So, for example, when she first meets a girl called Jacinta Headlington Bear, when she first goes to her boarding school, Jacinta's having a mighty great tantrum and, the sort of tantrum that would make most children run the other way and duck for cover. And Alice Miranda doesn't do that. She goes straight into the gymnasium where this girl is and she tries to befriend her. Now, the girl sort of... pushes her advances away and takes off and does these amazing tumble turns down the gym mats.
Right.
And eventually, when the girl comes back to her, she stands in front of Alice Miranda and says, my name is Jacinta Headlington Bear and nobody likes me. Right. And Alice Miranda's response to that is, well, I can't understand why. You're simply the cleverest gymnast. Why don't you tell me what's the matter?
Isn't that great? I mean, don't you wish, at least I wish I had that kind of emotional intelligence.
Well, I wish I could have been as brave as her as a child. And also, that idea that she confronts difficulties really head on and in a way that kind of charms people as well.
Now, these books, I just tell you, all the girls in my children's class are reading these books, but not just that. I've seen kids all around our area. They're selling like hotcakes in Australia. And I understand that it's not just Australia. You've gone global.
I have. It's very exciting. It's it's the dream come true. I have the first 2 Alice Miranda books published in the United States, with the third one coming this year in May. And I've actually just been to England and across the UK doing a book tour to launch book number 3 and 4. And it's going to sort of keep continuing, and Clementine Rose is being released in the UK in August.
Now, Clementine Rose is for younger children, so
she is. I guess I can hold up and show you. She's a really sweet little girl. She's very different to Alice Miranda because I suppose she's one of those children who has always got the best of intentions, but things don't always go the way that she wants them to. So despite the fact that she's well-intentioned, you know, sometimes things mess up. She has a really cute pet. She has a teacup pig called Lavender, and she lives with her mother, and they actually have a butler, but he's more like a great uncle to her. And yeah, she lives quite close to Alice Miranda. So although at the moment they don't know each other,
but
very
maybe
soon,
hold your breath,
very soon they will.
That's fabulous. You know, one of the things that I love about these books is they're children's books that are written actually for children.
Yes.
So even though there's conflict and there's things that come up that are scary and so forth, they're actually books that your children can read and just enjoy and love, and they're not adult books pitched at kids.
No, not at all. And that, I think that was actually very deliberate. Before I started this series, I spent quite a lot of time analysing what were the books that I loved as a child and why did I love them? What was it about them that made them you know, so appealing? And also I looked at books that have really stood the test of time and that have those themes that really are timeless. And so I have a whiteboard at home, and I wrote down a whole lot of things. You know, what would I want in a story? I would want mystery, adventure. I want the kids to be in charge, you know, to a certain extent. I want evil baddies and and characters with some depth about them. And the other thing that I decided, I wanted loads of yummy food in my books, because you know, which kids don't like chocolate brownies or you know, apple pie or whatever. So yeah, so it was quite a deliberate I guess exercise on my part to think about what is it that children love in a timeless adventure.
Well, thank you so much, Jacqueline, for coming on. We've put the website for those who want to go and see the websites. I know that Alice Miranda is not only a character, she's also blogging.
She does have
very
a blog.
Very clever
Very
character.
clever, yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of our viewers will enjoy the books. Their kids will enjoy them as much as we have. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure, James. Thank you very much for having me.
Stay with us. We'll be right back after this break.
The media targets our goals with destructive messages. But is there an alternative? Yes, it's Gigi. Gigi is a great new magazine for teenage girls that uplifts good Christian values. Finally, a way to pass on our values in a way the teenage girls in our life will love. So give a subscription to a teenage girl you love today. Visit gigimagazine.com.au. That's gigimagazine.com.au.
Welcome back. Now, Kent, I know you get to meet some very interesting people here on InFocus, and I get the feeling that that's something that you really enjoy.
Oh, Liz, yeah, no question whatsoever. Sometimes, though, Danielle, we do deal with some pretty heavy topics, though, pretty serious stuff. Other times, we have a lot of fun.
Well, that's right, but this next interview we're going to show really pretty much ticks both boxes, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Matt Ermenhazi, he's a local guy, doesn't live far from our studios here, and he takes a message of alcohol and drug-free living to schools and youth groups, but with a punk twist. And I'm really happy to invite or to welcome into the studio Mr. Matt Ermenhazi. How are you, Matt?
I can, how are you?
And now, Matt, you and I have got something in common here today.
We've got one of these.
Yeah, okay. I believe the slogan is straight edge for life.
Straight edge for life, that's what it is.
Well, what's it all? And the T-shirt too, untoxicated. Drug-free and proud. Okay, well, maybe we're getting somewhere. What's all this straight-edge stuff about?
Well, I found about a year ago, I found out about a movement that happened in 1980. And what happened, there were these young kids that went to a punk gig, but they were underage. They wanted to go in, but of course they were underage and the bouncer wouldn't let them in. And he said, look, I can let you in, but I'm going to put this black X on the back of your hand. But that means that you're not allowed to drink.
So if a kid went to the bar and asked for a drink, the barman would immediately see the cross on their hand and say, no, can't serve
exactly.
you. Okay.
So these kids with their Mohicans and safety pins, which is a kind of fashion back then, they took their their ex, and they went and hung out with their mates, and they saw the band. But other people, older kids, noticed them, and they drew the ex in solidarity.
Oh, that's cool. I love
so
the X on the hand.
It became like a little, almost like a little gang. Not really a gang, but a bunch of kids with an X on the back of the hand.
Bit of a subculture.
Yeah.
Within the punk.
It became like a subculture of punk. But what happened was that X came to symbolise three things. These kids, they don't drink, they don't smoke, and they don't do drugs, and often for life. So that was the start of a movement called straight edge.
Straight edge.
Yeah.
Is that straight as in, being a bit straight or a bit square? Is that where it came from?
It's called straight edge because there's a band called Minor Threat, and the lead singer, he wrote the lyrics to a song, and the lyrics were "We're living on the straight edge of life." So that's where it comes
The name of the song was Straight Edge, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so they... Right, okay, so what one more time? Straight edge for life. Okay, so look, it's not the 80s, Matt.
No.
So why bring this all up now?
Well, I've been a non-drinker for a while, and I know that when I go out socialising, it can be awkward, especially in our Australian culture, where if we celebrate, you have to celebrate with a drink. And being a scout leader and working with youth, I've noticed that if it's hard for me, it's going to be hard for kids to get out there and socialise. So
because of course kids are at that age. When we say kids, we're meaning young adults a lot of the time.
Or
just under or over the age of 18.
Yeah, but often
a lot of social pressure at that age.
Early teens and when kids go to universities, there's lots of pressure to drink. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to empower those that don't drink and smoke or do drugs. I just wanted to empower them and say, look, it's not a weakness to say that, hey, I don't drink. It's cool. It's awesome. So I've come up with a design, and I put this design up on Facebook, and it kind of went viral.
Is this it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we'll get the camera just to zoom in on that a bit. So this is the name of your campaign. Would you call it a campaign?
Yeah, it's a social movement.
Okay, untoxicated. It's not that you can't spell. You've actually invented a new word
it's
here.
It's a new term, yeah.
Untoxicated. And is it my imagination, or does this label look a little bit like maybe like a beer?
Yeah,
label
it does, because
something?
look, people associate beer drinking with being tough. But what I'm trying to say is, look, if you don't drink, it's cool. It's cooler than you've been cooler than drinkers because you can cope.
Yeah.
So
a lot of times, like not drinking or not doing drugs is seen as being a bit nerdy.
Yeah.
Let's face it. So what you've tried to do is to inject this sort of retro subculture of the straight edge punk into current contemporary youth culture and saying, hey, it's actually cool not to drink. There's a word for it. It's called straight edge, and
But that's where I started. But then what I found was, I put this poster up, and then I got this huge following. I've got almost 4,000 people
on Facebook.
On Facebook.
That's right. I was just on there earlier, like 3,800 likes or something. Yeah.
But I put all these questions up, like where do you come from? How long have you been straight edge? And the answers I got back were from grandparents, from police officers, from Marines, from CEOs. There's all these people, from 12-year-old kids, there's all these people that identify with the straight edge movement. And it's kind of like a cooler way of saying I'm a teetotaler. It's being a teetotaler is maybe something that your grandmother might call you, but really we're straight edge.
Yeah, okay. So is there a religious or spiritual basis to it?
Not at all. I mean, we've got fans from all over the world, from Malaysia, from America, from,
So
Africa.
when you say Malaysia, there'd be a lot of Muslims there, I imagine.
Yes. There's a guy there that's got his own organisation, and he helps kids and university students. And so we're getting our message out across there. We've got a Hungarian model that wants to promote our stuff. It's happening all over the world. It's pretty amazing.
And in America, some evangelical sort of Christian kids
jumping
down
on
south,
the bandwagon
there?
Yeah.
Not falling off the wagon,
Not
jumping on
it. Yeah. So, and also Colombia is huge. I think that's our third biggest country, Colombia.
Colombia in South America. Wow. Okay. And what's sort of grabbing them, do you think, about the movement?
Look, I think it's people there know enough is enough. That they've seen how many lives have been destroyed and with the cartels and all that kind of stuff.
Cocaine, of course. Yeah.
So I think it's a great message that it's valid everywhere.
Wow. And so apart from kids saying, hey, well, this is something I can identify with, have you seen like young people making sort of wiser decisions about alcohol, you know, because of this movement, because of its influence?
Yeah, look, we've got this thing on the site where people can make a pledge to to abstain from smoking, drinking and drugs.
A pledge?
A pledge, an online pledge.
Do you know how old school that is?
I know.
I mean, this is like 1900s sort of temperance, 1800s probably temperance movement.
But we've made it cool. This is cool.
You've made it cool. Wow, and people are signing this?
Yeah, we've got over 600 people signing up already. And look, we get messages all the time. I think one of the things that really encouraged me was after I put this poster up, and people can download it for free if they make a pledge.
You got T-shirts as well, haven't you?
We got T-shirts. So people could make a pledge, and this guy, he sent me a personal message, and he said, thanks for setting up this page. Since I've joined this page, I've joined Alcoholics Anonymous, because what happens is when people start communicating with others on the page and the website, if someone says that, hey, I'm having problems with alcohol or whatever, the whole community gets together behind this person and supports them.
It's not about ejecting them from the group or saying you're not straight edge enough? Or,
no. People say, hey, you know, or someone might say, hey, my parents have problems with drugs, and I'm so glad I found this community. And so everyone gets together and supports them and say, hey, you know, we're straight edge for life, brother, hang in there. So it's a great community where, look, what we're doing is we're giving people identity and a community and support.
Okay. So if our viewers are interested, jump on Facebook, search Untoxicated, and it pops straight up there. And maybe click the like button and...
Thank you, that'd be good.
Yeah, get those thumbs up.
Get those shares out.
Yeah, hey, thanks so much for coming in,
Thank
Matt,
you.
and telling us all about it. And one more time,
Straight edge for life.
Every week, It Is Written is available to millions of free-to-air viewers throughout Australia, New Zealand, New Guinea and the Pacific. It Is Written's Gary Kent regularly takes viewers to the far corners of the globe to report on new evidence and discoveries that confirm the Bible and Christian beliefs. It Is Written also provides medical care to remote Pacific Island communities. Join Gary Kent each week for It Is Written. See television guides in the It Is Written website for broadcast times. It Is Written with Gary Kent. It really is television that changes lives.
So you think you've got your future all planned out, right? Or maybe you're not sure yet. What you want to do, who you want to be. A great education matters. Avondale. It's education designed for life.
Thanks for your company this week. It's been great reliving some of this year's highlights.
Another holiday episode next week, Kent?
Yes, yeah, that's right. It will feature what would have to be probably my favourite interview from this year.
And no guessing, that's Ken Duncan.
Yep, you've got it in one. He is a really great guy.
And what does he call himself? An average photographer with a great God.
Yep, that's right, that's right. Well, that's it from us for this week. We'll see you next time on Record in Focus.
God bless.